I've been married for 25 years and we have 7 children. We just moved this last weekend to Syracuse, Utah. And let's see, some unique things. I am a scoutmaster for a girls' troop for BSA. I also run a homeschool group. And anyway, love to learn, love to do anything. 2 years ago, I bought a spinning wheel and I've been learning how to do that. So wool and spinning it. And the spinning wheel I bought is just over 100 years old. So I call her the little old lady. Learning how to make the wool. I do have 2 daughters that crochet really, really well, and they can make beautiful things. I had heard about Audrey, and she came and spoke at a kind of a homeschool group training that a friend of mine was putting on, and I was assisting with. And so that was the first time that I really heard of Audrey and heard her speak. And that was, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And then, I watched some of the videos that she'd done before on YouTube, but it was really, I don't know, about a year and a half ago that I started like hearing more about it, and I started listening to the podcasts and loved those and reading the book that was originally just online, and I got to help edit that. So that was a lot of fun. Twice now. I kept wanting to do the academy, and so when Audrey and I were first talking about me editing it, she said, well, how much would you charge? And I said, I just want to join the academy. So we'll just trade. And I had some other friends that started it as well. And so we created a group. There are 5 of us that are kind of doing it, at different speeds, but doing it and talking about things. And so that's really helped a lot, and more motivating when you have that accountability to say, start of the week, okay, this is what I'm shooting for this week. And then at the end of the week, reporting, okay, this is what I got done, and these are some of the things that I learned. And so that really having the group was a huge benefit. I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from level 1 is really realizing that I have to care for myself too. I mentioned that I have 7 children, and so, between them and my husband and making sure their worlds are good and always watching out for them, a lot. And I remember reading the scripture years ago, if you lose your life, you'll find it. And that was a saving thing for me in many ways, because I realized, okay, if I give myself to these things, then I will learn more who I am. And I did, and serving my family in many ways, really has blessed me. And I've grown in so many ways because of that, and had to provide things for them because we also homeschool. So then, in just all the different ways that I have been a support to them, then that's built myself. But then, my personal care and my personal, taking care of myself really hasn't ever been a priority. I knew I needed to be aware and get the rest that I needed, but whatever. But I always forever had told myself that, I was a night owl, and that's when I got my best things done. And so a couple years ago, even before this, then I started, because you hear about all these great people. Well, they probably didn't sleep in, they had things to do, so they were up and doing it. And so, a couple years ago, I started getting up earlier and going to bed earlier. So that was already started. But then other things like, just thinking more about what I'm eating, and that's something that I want to study further. But about the beginning of May, I think it was, maybe in April, I started, and I'd run some 5Ks before, never straight running. Had always kind of trained for them and did my best. But I would always tell myself, okay, I'm going to run 2 to 3 times a week. And I noticed that when I was running 3 times a week that I improved better, but basically the 5K would end and I'd just be done with that. And so I'd quit. And so this year, just in thinking about this self-care stuff, I started thinking, okay, well, what can I do? And somebody posted on one of the, and maybe it was in the level 1 group, that they just shoot to get 2,000 steps first thing in the morning. And so that was my first goal, was just, okay, I can do that. I can get 2,000 steps. And so just in my tiny front room, sometimes I'd just march in place or run back and forth, whatever, but just worked to get those 2,000 steps. And then one day, after a couple weeks of that, my husband said, why don't you just go outside? Sometimes it takes a nudging, I don't know. And I thought, okay, so then I started just walking, and then I thought, well, I've done 5Ks before, I should run. And it just really started building. And so, yeah, really, I think it was the beginning of May that I consistently started just running every single morning. And, another aside benefit of that is my 18-year-old daughter started joining in with me. And I was waking up at 6 to go running, and she suddenly started waking up at 6 to go running with me. And yeah, so taking care of myself, then suddenly she's doing more to take care of herself as well. And so we got a 5K training, through Audible, and started listening to that as we were running, so we could actually improve, because we just felt like we were not getting better. It still was hard. And so we got a training and started doing that, and we finished that, and hooray, I can run 30 minutes straight now. So I could run a 5K, the whole thing. And then we were wondering, well, what do we do now? So now we were doing a half marathon training, and I don't know that we'll actually do that, but we'll see how far we get.